Yeah. Okay. So today it will be a hour-long class. I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir. Visible.
It's visible. Okay, fine. Uh, okay, so today it will be a hour-long class, and it's just the beginning. So we'll just discuss few things. Just give me a moment. Let me set up some things. Okay. So today we'll discuss the very basics of Python and few starting topics. Okay, nothing. Will not dive into anything complex. Try not to dive into anything complex. Okay. So let me just give you a little bit of an introduction about Python. First of all, very quickly. Okay. So this person that you're seeing here, his name is Guido van Rossum, right? And uh, he is basically considered not considered, he is the creator of Python, right? And he started out building, like he was working for a company. I think probably it was IBM or some other company. I'm not exactly sure at this point. And there he was developing some other programming language. But then and his team started to see the flaws in the language that they were working on, and then he started developing Python on his own in his own time, right? As a fun activity. And he saw that this language had a lot of potential. It was very easy to basically read and write this language. And Python was born. But today, basically, he is not the only one who sort of maintains Python. There is a very large group of individuals, and even organizations are contributing their man hours to sort of keeping Python up to date, and new versions keep coming out and so on, because now a lot of companies depend on Python, because what happened over the time is any language that becomes sort of very well known, companies start adopting it in their tooling. And once it gets adopted in tooling, they realize that it is important to keep this language secure, up to dated, and so on. So they basically start contributing man hours, or their resources to sort of maintain that project, or that language. So moving on, it is the good thing about this language is it is a very general purpose language, right? And what happens with that is that you can sort of go from developing basic scripts. So any knowledge that you are taking, like in courses like these, for example, where you will be you learn to write some basic scripts. You that knowledge is not wasted, because you can basically take that knowledge all the way up to the level of building your own custom pieces of software. Like pretty much any piece of software can be developed, like a full-fledged back end of a website can be developed. A lot of websites that you see online have used this language in the back end. Okay, you using some web frameworks, obviously developed in Python, but it is being used in a lot of important public facing projects as well, right? So that knowledge that you will attain in this course does not go waste. You can take it to any heights as you like. Then obviously it is an open source language, and it is free, so anyone can download it and use it. There is no licensing required, no paid licensing involved here. Okay. Then the biggest strength with Python is it has to be the Python packages. Okay. Now this is a very cyclical sort of a thing that happened with Python, right? The like what happened with Python is that it was developed with the notion that it should be very easy to read and write. So basically, the word for that is semantics. Okay, so it has a very easy semantic, very easy semantics. What does that mean? Like it is written, like it does not require any complex sort of formatting. Like you don't need curly brackets, and unnecessarily you don't need curly brackets everywhere, and very keen attention to formatting with all these different tools that are available in other programming languages. So it is very, very simple to write, and it is very simple to read. It is as simple as like reading like plain English. Okay, so once you start understanding what a particular keyword means, you will sort of it will become very easy for you to read and write. Okay, so what happened as a result of that is, because of easy semantics, a lot of people sort of got attracted to this language, and any existing work that they were doing, they tried to sort of uh, you know move it, or started, or tried to do that work using Python. Okay. Now, what happens is, as a result, like for example, any person who is into data analytics, for example, what they will do with this language is they will try to solve their data analytics problem. Okay, and what happened as a result, like they saw that, okay, to analyze data, I will need some custom library or some custom piece of code that I can sort of use again and again. Okay, so what they did is they started developing custom code for themselves, right? And then they realized that all the people in my community would need it, right? So they what they did, they basically developed something called libraries, which are nothing but other people's code that we can use to solve our problems or solve our custom use cases. Okay, so what happened is that these libraries, or the other name for libraries is packages. Okay, a lot of people started using it to solve their own problems, and basically that is what helped the community or the people again. And it also, I should say, contributed to further having even easier semantics. Like in our previous demo class, if anyone joined, you might have seen that in basic 8 lines of code, I was able to pull the output of a show command from the device, right? So in just 8 lines, that was all because other people have already solved the problem and written the code in the backend to be able to do that process, and they have simplified it to a great extent, right? So it is a cyclical thing that sort of is helping the people and the community who is working with Python, right? So this is the most important thing about Python, right? Then at a high level, Python has two main versions, that is 2.x and 3.x. Okay, so currently I think we are at 3 dot, I don't know, 16, 17 or something. We can maybe quickly check. So if I just go to python.org, if I check here, I think it is 3.13, which is a sort of tested version, but I'm pretty sure they will have, beta versions for even further. I think 3.14 is already there, but all these are beta versions. Okay, so there might also be like 3.15 or something in the works. But at a high level, the version that has sort of come out and is tested, it is a tested and stable version. It is 3.13.5. So they have reached till this point. Okay, but version 2 was the earlier major version, and currently it is not supported. It is not being updated. Nothing is being done with it. It has been deprecated. So nobody basically uses it in any new projects. And it is a general recommendation that any companies who have written their code in, let's say, Python version 2, they are also migrating their code base to version 3. Okay, so and yeah, it has already faded, by the way. Nobody is supporting version 2 now. So any doubts till now before we proceed to the next topic? Anybody? Nothing?
When this batch started today only, or this is
No,
first class?
this is the first class. This is the first class, but we had a demo class before this. It was like sort of a different topic. It was not like the regular topics that we'll be covering. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, one query.
Yeah.
Only will be covering Python or some Ansible things also we will see
No,
automation
Ansible,
related.
no, because Python itself is going to take a lot of time. Like,
Okay.
I think even in this course, it can take up to 2.5 to 3 months, right? Uh, so 2 days a week. That's why. So Ansible, maybe I'll be coming out with a course very soon. I'm probably 95%, 98% I'm done with that course. I would say 98, 99%. Last 1% is remaining. So yeah, so it is a different course, not in this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other doubt? Okay. And speaking more about the Ansible thing, like if you know Python, you can learn Ansible very, very quickly, right? Like it is the mother language. Even Ansible is developed within Python. Now even Ansible, you can download it as a Python library. Um, so it is developed completely in Python. Lot of concepts, lot of semantics that you use in developing Ansible playbooks and all the other things around it. They use Python semantics. Like things are written as if you are writing pieces of Python code, right? So if you know Python, it will be very easy for you to learn Ansible. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's move. So, since we started talking about packages, let's discuss that more in detail. So, in Python, you have something called pip. Okay. Pip is nothing but a package management system. Fine. It is a package management system. Now, what is the full form of pip? It is a recursive full form. Like in the full form of pip, again, pips come. So the first letter P stands for pip, second stands for installs, and third stands for packages. Okay, so pip installs packages at a high level. That is what you will be using pip to do. That is high level. Two main things you'll be doing with pip on a day-to-day basis. That is installing packages and uninstalling packages if required, right? And like when it comes to installing packages or uninstalling, the reasons could be because you need a new package that you want to use in your project, so you'll be installing that package. And let's say a new version of that package has come out, so in cases like those, you might be uninstalling the current package and installing the newer package, right? So we'll be discussing all these things now. Okay, so pip is like one of the starting points that everyone should have some understanding of, so that because this is a language where you'll be working a lot with packages, because 90% of your problems are already solved with these things called packages, and that is why everyone is sort of gravitating towards Python, right? So 90% of the problem is solved. 10% of the problem around customizing the use of the package for your use case is what it is all about. So once you learn that, you're all good to sort of go with any documentation you can read and then start using that package. So let's move on, and what I'll do is I'll open a terminal. Okay, so in the terminal, what I'll do is I have, in my case, Python is already installed, so very soon you'll be getting access to your accounts. right? And in those, few videos will already be uploaded on how to install Python and how to set up your environment, lab environment, and all those things. So once you get those, at that point, you can also install, Python and pip and all these things in on your PC. But for now, in my case, it is already installed. So once it is installed, what will happen is, if it is installed properly, when you'll type Python, in the case of Windows, you'll have to type Python. In the case of Linux or Mac, probably you'll have to type Python 3. Okay, because it is Python version 3. Mostly, these also have Python version 2 installed. So if you just type Python, it goes to Python version 2. Okay, although the newer distributions of Linux are sort of removing Python 2, but still you'll have to type Python 3 mostly, right? So once it is properly installed, you can type Python in the command prompt or terminal, and it will open a Python shell, something called a Python shell within it. Okay, so at the Python shell, what it allows you to do is that it is very much like sort of in some ways it is like a device CLI, right? Like a Cisco CLI command line. Okay, where you can type commands, but here you will not be typing in the commands, so to say. Okay, you will be typing in lines of code. Okay, so here you'll be typing, you can basically, it allows you to type individual lines of code or even a group of lines of code, so that you can test pieces of your code. Okay, if you're typing something, if you're writing a very large code but you want to quickly test out how this particular part of the code will behave, then you can just copy paste those lines here, give it dummy inputs, see what outputs you're getting, and so on. Okay, so mostly it is used for those kinds of purposes, but today we are going to exit out of it, because there are even better versions of this same shell. We'll discuss those very quickly. But for now, let's talk about pip. Okay, so pip is another command that automatically your computer, if Python is installed properly, pip command will also get supported automatically. Okay, so the pip command has an help option. Okay, so if I run this, you can see that it gives me a lot of options, right? So it is giving me, uh, yeah, any doubts? Okay, fine. So it is giving me a lot of command options, right? Pip install is one of the option, like pip, it will help me install packages. Pip download, it helps me just downloading a package and not installing it, so that maybe you want to download it, transfer it to some other machine which is maybe not connected to the internet, and then sort of install it on that machine and so on. So all these options, different options are available. Then you have obviously the uninstall option. You have the pip freeze option. We'll be discussing this very soon. Let's look at the pip list and pip show option very quickly. Other than that, like, there are a lot of other options as well, but these are more sort of advanced options that we as someone who are using packages won't need to that extent. But you know uh, uh, basically people who are into sort of development of packages, maybe they need these options more comparatively, right? So these are more advanced options. Most of the times we will be good with these options, right? Pip install, download, uninstall, freeze, list, show, right? Most of the times. There is also a search option. We'll talk about this also, but not this is not really required, because we can always go on the web and search for packages, right? So yeah, moving on, let me do one thing. Let me install a package and show you. Pip install, there's a package called requests. Okay, so if I download this, what happens is it is telling me that requirement is already satisfied. Okay, so what happened is that it went out and tried to install the request package. So the pip, whatever code is written for the pip functionality, it what it does is it basically checks that if the package that I'm trying to install, is it already installed or not, first of all, right? So if I do pip list, if I hit enter, you will see that uh, PQR requests, right? So requests library is already installed in my case, and that is why I got this requirement already satisfied, right? So obviously the pip functionality, first it tries to check if it is already installed or not, and if it is already installed, then in that case it checks one more thing. That is it checks for something called dependencies. Dependencies of a package are nothing but other packages that this main package depends on for working, right? Like the requests package, like whoever wrote the code for request package, even they were like that for all the functionality that we want to provide the user within the request package, we don't need to write the complete code for that. Okay, some portions of our code we can take help from packages that are already written or already available. So like for example, there is this certify, for example, there's this dependency library called certify. So it has something, this library, as you can read the name, has something to do with certificates and so on, managing and sending and receiving and verifying certificates when you will sort of work with APIs and websites and so on, right? So they found that why do we need to waste our time writing fresh code for managing certificates when someone uses the request library to work with a web portal? Instead, why not use this already available library? So this library became a dependency for the request library to work. You all understood how what dependencies are? Anyone has any doubt?
Sir,
Yeah.
yeah, when I'm executing this one, pip install requests, for example, it is showing
Hmm.
is that this certify is not there. Some other packages are there. So does that depends upon your OS flavor?
No, actually, the request library will use these only. Is your spelling correct for the request library? And is pip already installed
Pip
in
already
your
installed,
case?
yes.
Yeah. So
2.25.1.
yeah. Uh, can you come
I
again?
am using
The
Rocky Line. Uh, your version is 2.28.2, right? My version is showing 2.25.1.
for the request library you are saying.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, so you know, I'm not sure why that is the case, but as you can see, there is. Let me complete this quickly, then I'll come back to
Okay,
you.
okay.
So
Sure, sure.
so pip. So there is another command that I talked about earlier, right? Pip show, right? So pip show library, pip show command, if you use for that same library, it shows like more detailed information. Like for example, what is the name of the library, the version of the library, the summary Python HTTP for humans, and what is the home page, like where you can find the documentation for this library, who is the author, like it's the main author, but obviously most of these are open source projects and a lot of people are contributing to them. So the original author's name and their email ID, then the license. So all these licenses, some in some places you will see MIT license or Apache license. All these are sort of open licenses, like mostly anyone can use, right? In some cases, the license could have the requirement that if a profit making organization is using it, in that case they will have to pay some amount or something like that. But mostly these are, I would like to believe that it is 99%, 99.99% are free. Anyone can use it. Then the location where it is installed on my PC, right? And this is what I was talking about, requires. Okay, so this library requires these libraries to function. Okay, it requires the certify library, the character set normalizer library, the IDNA library, and the URL lib3 library. Okay, and then there are some other sort of libraries on my PC that are currently installed, which require the request library to function. So as you can see, a lot of higher level libraries are using the request library. Request is further using a lot of other lower level libraries and so on for different pieces or different functionalities, right? Getting my point? So, if, like, there is a common saying within the software industry that don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, what does it mean? That it means that once someone has already solved a problem in a decent enough manner, in an acceptable enough manner, don't waste time in recreating it. Got it? So that's why they believe that if someone has already created a library to manage certificates, why create it? Someone has already created a library to manage character sets, why recreate it? Someone has already created a library to manage, let's say, web sessions or something. So why recreate it, right? So even the creators of libraries use other people's code, right? So, yeah, coming back to you, who was it, Akash or forgetting the name?
Sarvajit, sir. Sarvajit.
Yeah, yeah. So, is it clear now, or when you run
Yes, sir.
this command,
It is
do you
clear.
see this?
I've given in the chat box. I have given what it is
Okay,
throwing out for me.
okay. Just 1 second. Mm. Okay, so maybe this version of yours, 2.25.1, maybe it did not have that requirement, but now it has. Okay, so
And on top
so
of that, you
in
are using
your
Ubuntu,
case,
right?
yeah, in your case, what you'll have to do is what I'll be telling you now. That is uninstall it,
Mhm.
okay, and install the
Mhm.
latest version, and maybe you will start seeing this library as well. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so let's
Because I
see.
am using
Yeah,
Rocky Linux, so maybe that dependency automatically, whatever is the latest version of the dependency in the repository, it picked that one.
yeah, I don't know. So different versions can have different dependencies, right? Not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Coming back. So what I will do now is I will, let's say, now this is a very good live example as well. This is something what I was going to fake, but thanks to Sarabjit, that he has shown me that in his case the dependencies are different, right? So let me do one thing. Let's imagine a scenario where, let's say, Sarabjit and I are both working in a team. Okay. So Sarabjit has written some code using the request library that he wants to share with me, and I also want to run it. Okay. In my PC, the version 2.28.2 has been installed, but on his PC, the version is 2.25.1. Okay. So there is a very good chance, or there may be a chance, like mostly what happens is they try to develop backwards compatibility, but let's say there is no backwards compatibility between 2.28 and 2.25 version of the request library. So when I get that code, no matter how he sends it to me, maybe via email or maybe some other file transfer mechanism, let's not get into that. But that code is now with me. He has written a lot of lines of code where he's using, let's say, request library multiple times, and he's fetching data from different websites and things like that, and doing something with that data. But when I get it, I try to run it, and I'm getting all sorts of errors. Okay. And on troubleshooting, we find out that, okay, I am using a different version and he was using a different version of request library. So in my case, we decide that, okay, since the project has already proceeded, a lot of code has already been written by Sarabjit. So let's not change our code. Let's change the version of request library itself on my PC, right? So what we will do in that case, we will uninstall my version. Okay. I'll just say request. and proceed, yes, and the library is uninstalled now. Okay, now I want that specific version, which is 2.25.1. So what I'll do, I will again install it. Okay, but I will add the version by putting two equal to signs. Okay, equal to 2.25.1, and I'll hit enter. So what happens now is that it will download, okay, this library, okay, that version. Now you might be wondering, where did I download this from? Okay, so let me quickly show you that. By the way, Sarabjit, just to show you, now I have 2.25.1. That library is still a requirement in my case, at least. So maybe it's some system level thing. I don't know. Can't say for sure what exactly is the problem.
Need to check. I'll check with different OS versions. Maybe this is OS version is different. I don't know how it is reacting.
Yeah,
I'll create
yeah,
VM and check.
yeah, sure. So coming back, so now let's say I have gone to 2.25.1. Now I try to run the code that Sarabjit shared with me, and I'm able to run it fine. This time I'm not getting any errors because both our versions match. Now, even in cases like these where the main library you have sort of you know um, downgraded in this case or upgraded in maybe in some other case, even though you've done that, okay, still there might be chances that you're getting errors, because that could be because, like, even these dependencies have sort of some options of like they don't need it to be a specific version of the dependency also. Like in the case of dependency, it is saying that URL 3 it is satisfied because I have 1.20 1.27, and the requirement was that the version should be greater than equal to 1.21.1. Okay, so at individual dependency level also there are certain conditions that need to be met. Okay, so now you might be wondering, it is becoming tedious just to manage these packages, right? So what should I do? So in cases like these, what you do is you use another feature. What Sarabjit can do in this case is that if he wants exactly the same versions of libraries to be installed that are installed on his PC to be installed on my PC, what he can do on his PC is he will use the command pip freeze. Okay, and for this it is better, because I want to locate this file. I'll first move to desktop on my PC,
Some
and here,
requirements.txt required, sir.
yes,
Requirements.txt where you
yes,
can
yes,
install.
yes, I'm going to come to that. Yeah, exactly. So there is this command called pip freeze. Okay, and pip freeze, and then you put a caret sign, and you will mention the file's name requirements.txt. Okay, so let's say Sarabjit on his PC runs this command and hits enter key. And what happens on Sarabjit's PC is that a new file is created. Like, let me see, 1 second. Uh, Desktop. So maybe, yeah, maybe I can show you this. So on the desktop, you can see that a new file has been created. Okay, it is today's date, current time, right? New file got created. Let me open it. Okay, this is what that file looks like, right? Now this portion, like here, it does not just mention the name of the library, it also mentions the exact version that is installed on Sarabjit's PC. Now, what Sarabjit has to do is, along with the code file that he shared with me, he can share this txt file also with me. Okay, this txt file also he will share with me along with the code files. Now, let's say this requirement.txt has been shifted to my PC in the project folder. Now I will just go to the project folder and I will run the command pip install -r, and I will mention the name of the file. Now, generally, in general, people use this name only, requirements.txt, but it is not mandatory that you use this name. You can use some other name also, right? So, but generally, people use the requirements.txt, popularly known, or popularly people say like this, that can you share your requirements.txt with me? So it is a well-known name for the file, but you can use other names also, not a big deal. Okay. So pip install, I'll just run this command, and let's say Sarabjit used 10 different libraries to create that project. So all those libraries with those exact versions will start getting installed on my PC. Clear? So with one single command, all mismatches are solved. Yeah.
One doubt here, sir.
Hmm.
For example, in your PC already different version of the requirements are already installed.
Hmm.
Then I'm giving you the code as well as the requirement.txt file.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you execute this pip install command.
Yeah.
But if one of the requirement or few of the versions is lower than what it is in your system, will it not create
Hmm.
a conflict?
Yeah. So let's try that. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll say 2.28.2. Okay. Fine. I think this was
Okay,
your doubt,
okay,
right? Let's say your PC has 2.28.2 and my PC has currently it has 2.25.1. Fine.
yes,
So in
yeah.
this case, now what happens? Let's see. For the request library specifically, there is a mismatch. So you see, for that particular library, it if in my case it was already cached because earlier I had installed it, right? But uh, otherwise, it would have downloaded that and installed that one. Okay. And now
So
let's
previous,
try the reverse. Let's try the reverse case also. Let's see if I can go back to maybe something like 25.2. Okay. Not one. It is two this time. Okay. 2.25.2. I'll have to check if that is available, but let's try. Okay. Could not find a version. Okay, it is not available. Let's see some other version. 2.25.0 is available. Okay. Let me change that. Right. So what happened? Existing installation 28.2. It was uninstalled and it installed 25.0. Fine.
okay. So here comes another question, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah. Please ask.
Like,
You're right. Yeah.
so this is okay. I am working in multiple
Hmm.
projects.
Hmm.
For example, maybe I'm a tester or something. I'm testing.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Different developers giving me different projects,
Yeah.
so which have different dependencies. Now, every
Hmm.
time I cannot change or do these things. I have to
Yeah.
run multiple projects also.
Yeah.
So that time, what we can do? We can create a virtual environment and test like that.
Yes.
Or
Yes, yes, yes. That is the purpose of virtual environment. Exactly. Okay.
okay,
Nothing else.
okay,
So yeah, for those of you don't who don't know what virtual environment is, it is like sort of uh how can I what would be the right way to put it? Um, it is like running a sort of a VM on your PC, right? In a way. So what happens when you create a virtual environment is that to explain this, I'll have to explain it from sort of, I'll have to take back a few steps and then explain it. So what happens is when you install Python, okay. Anyways, I was going to tell this later on, but when you install Python, what happens is it is not just Python that gets installed. A lot of other important things also get installed. One of the things I've already told you, which is pip. Pip also gets installed. Then besides pip, there is a lot of these default libraries that are available. Like some libraries are so important, and the maintainers of Python felt that okay, these libraries pretty much every person needs to have, but because at some point they might need it. Like an example of that is the math library. So there is this library called math, which we will be working with later on, right? to do some small task within the class. So this math library, they felt that almost all users, or it is something that most people would need, whoever uses Python, right? So what they did, they made it a default library. So a lot of these default libraries also get installed. Like until the previous version, that is 3.12, there is this library called telnetlib, which is also something we will be using in this course, right? This would also get automatically installed as a default library, because they realize that okay, anyone who is using Python, at some point they will be trying to sort of log in into other devices and do something using Python. So they thought that okay, it is a very very core sort of a library that most people would want to use. So they made it a part of the default set of libraries. So when you install Python, a lot of these default libraries get installed. So what happens when you create a virtual environment is that the Python installation, that in the case of Windows, it is python.exe, right? The main installation and all these other functionalities. When you create a virtual environment, these files get copied into a virtual space. Okay, which is called VENV, virtual environment. You can name it according to your project, and all these files get sort of copied within your own PC to a different location, to a project folder, wherever you want to copy them. And within that folder, you are having just the Python version, you are just having the pip version and the default libraries. Now, within this virtual environment, as long as this virtual environment is active on your PC, it is activated, any libraries that you will install will only be installed in this local version. They will not be installed in the main location where we were talking about. Like this is the main location in my C drive in the main installation of Python. Okay. So in that case, the installation of Python will be different. Okay, like I don't discuss VENV in this course because there are a lot of other concepts, important concepts that I have to cover. But I have like used this concept in my, since today people were talking about the Ansible course. So there I've sort of used it. If I can quickly, maybe I don't know if I can bring it up. Let's see. So here I'm in my sort of right VM, right? So currently I'm mm, in the normal, so this thing. So if I show you, if I run the command Python 3 here, it shows me, one second. So it shows me Python 3.10.12. This is the version of Python and so on, right? Now, and if I exit and if I show you uh, pip pip3 list. Okay, so there are a lot of these libraries that you can see here, right? Right? A lot of very big list is there. But what I did was I created a different virtual environment, okay, which I can activate using this command, source command, right? So there is this folder called Ansible Pro, within which I sort of, this is my virtual environment folder, where this activate sort of executable lies. So if I just run this, now you can see that I'm within that virtual environment. Okay, so now what happened when I first time when I created this virtual environment, all the the version of Python and you know the default libraries, pip functionality, all these sort of got replicated in this folder called Ansible Pro, right? So here, if I show you that folder, it is also available with me. So you will see that some library, some folders like bin, include, lib64, share, supporting files, testing, and all these things got installed. And within this bin, you will find a file called uh, pip3, right? And you'll find Python 3. So these are those uh, replicated Python versions. And any library that I now install gets installed in this folder. So if I show you the pip3 list now, once again, because I am inside the venv, you will see that this is a much shorter list here. Okay, so it is a much shorter list compared to the one that I had above. Okay, got it? Clear? So
Yes,
this
sir.
is the
Understood.
concept of
Clear.
virtual environment. So you can create how many ever virtual environments. In the case of, yeah, you cannot have multiple, like on your PC, whatever version of Python is installed, versions of Python is a different story. Okay, so in my videos, when you'll be getting your account activated. In the videos, I've also shown you a specific way of installing Python. I'm asking you in the video to install the Python in a specific way. That is to create a special folder in your PC, in your C drive, like I've created. In my C drive, I've created a specific folder. Like if you do a very default install, like when you download Python, Python installer.exe and you start installing it, go to next, 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 don't change anything. What happens is Python will get installed in your program files. Okay. But what I am asking you in that video is to have a separate folder called Python, and there you install it, right? Why I'm doing it? Because let's say if you want to experiment with other versions of Python also, so what happens is you can keep installing new versions of Python in this one, uninstalling, let's say 3.10, let's say you want to install 3.12, so that folder will be Python 3.1.2 probably, right? So you can run that version, and now once you have that as the installed, you know, version of Python on your PC. Now, when you'll create a virtual environment, that virtual environment will be using Python 3.12 instead of 3.10. Okay. So you can play around with all these things. It is difficult to do the same thing in Linux, by the way. Okay. In Linux, it is recommended that you sort of use the version that comes inbuilt in your, distribution. But in Windows, you can play around with versions of Python also very easily, because here it is just an executable file. It is just any other software. It is just like any other software. Okay, fine. So that's all the high level theory on this thing. Now, I forgot to answer one question. Now, as I said, you might be wondering, where are these files coming from? Like in this case, when we actually downloaded a file, and when we were checking if a particular version of requests exists or not, where is pip going and checking for these files? So let me show you. So there is this, like obviously we have python.org, but we also have something called pypy. Okay, so I've just googled PYPI, Python Package Index. That's the full form, right? So if I go on this pypy.org, this is the front end or the web portal of PyPy, okay, which is sort of visible to us. But this same PyPy website also has a backend version where it sort of works using SCP or FTP or HTTP downloads are sort of working in the background. So this pip functionality that I showed you is sort of interacting with this website pypy.org and downloading different files from there. Now if I search that same library requests here, okay, it will take me it will show me different results of all the libraries that have the name request within it, but obviously our library is this one. As you can, like, the exact name is request, right? And you will see here that if I show you the release history, you know you can see all the versions that are available to download. Okay, there are sometimes when certain versions have a lot of bugs or some